3, 2, 1.
I don't think we've messed up once.
Well, I would hope not.
If we did, we just cut that part out. We just redo it again. The beauty of editing. Welcome back to the Decent Human Podcast. Welcome back.
We got Jenny, and we got Evan, and we got Chris over there.
So
It's
nice.
see you
a
guys
new
again.
day.
It's a new day. It's fun to see you again. Missed you all.
Yes. How's it going?
Oh, it's been taxing on me, honestly.
What has?
How's your back?
My back is always sore from carrying you.
Oh my god!
This is gonna be a long day.
I got to spend the entire day with you on Tuesday. We just talk
Oh,
about
yeah,
that.
that's right.
It's like I just want to talk about the shoot for a second.
Oh, man.
It was the most fun, but the most ridiculous.
So
shoot
ridiculous. It should not have been that difficult, but for whatever reason, it was, and it was so much fun.
And it the most simple thing you could possibly think of. But then we've got Evan sitting on the couch, like directing from the couch, watching the TV, and then he's up in his seat and he's like screaming and yelling, and Jeremy's screaming and yelling, and I'm like, I have some BTS that we're gonna have to show.
We're going to have to show that because it was really fun.
He's gonna do undefeated. Sick. See what happens.
All right. Ready?
I like how it comes off. Yes, it's like our logo. Our logo sticks out. It's good. Ready? Tomato?
Here's what it looked like.
And it's exactly. It was like I wasn't even directing. I was like watching a sports game, a match, sports event.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, and like Jeremy would just like take a piece of bologna and just like put it on his sandwich.
It was literally just placement.
Oh! It
It was
freaking
hilarious. It was the funniest shoot I've ever
Yeah.
been at.
But it was a good time. You missed out, Chris.
I saw the
BT.
BTS. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, and then we were all
Evan
together.
was just sitting there on his couch from his own home. Just, here we go. Yep, play by play. Here we go.
There it is. There it is.
We were talking on a recent episode about glorifying the struggle and
You brought that up.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And I think that we wanted to get a little deeper into that because I think a lot of people go through their own situations where it's like they're struggling constantly, and I think it's nice for people to know that people can go through that and still come out the other side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that one, I was gonna say, don't search for the struggle, but it's more of like, it's okay if you are, as long as you have that plan, you're moving forward to get out of it.
What I wanted to add on to that, and it's not that I don't think that you shouldn't work your ass off and learn through that struggle, but I think that there is this level of, oh, I went through this, I went through that, and we glorify that. We get proud because we went through all these bad times, and that's fine. We all have shit that we deal with, but I think it's a lot of people are like, oh, you didn't have a rough life, you're not shit.
Yeah.
I don't think that we all
serious.
have to go through shitty times to be someone.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we all do have our own things, I just think that there is a level of being I went through this, you went through your own situation, and that's okay, whatever it is, despite whether it was not as rough or whether it was rough, we can all be on the same playing field, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. And I think it just goes back to a simple saying of everybody has their own reality. Mm-hmm. And what is real to you is totally legitimate. And so if it's whether you're going through a struggle to get where you are, or maybe you took a more direct path to get what you are, but that was your reality and that's your life, and that's fine either way. So don't hold it against somebody that doesn't go through the struggle. Don't hold it against somebody that had a more direct path. Yeah. It's because they had a silver spoon, so to speak, to get there.
I read somewhere that it was let's stop glorifying the struggle and let's start praising like teaching about financial literacy and teaching about how to like take care of yourself financially so that your kids and your future generations don't have to go through that struggle. And I think that's more of like what I was getting at with like, let's stop glorifying the struggle. But that's not to say that like we all still don't go through it in different ways, even if it wasn't that.
So are you also saying, like, when you say like don't glorify the struggle, are you also kind of mentioning like your current struggle that you're going through, where it's not like this is my hard life and just kind of showing that to everybody? It's just like, no, you know, it's good to have financial literacy. It's good to care. It's good to like prepare yourself.
Yeah.
It's not about like, oh, my life is so hard, this is what I do to make it, and all that kind of stuff. It's like, no, take that pressure off yourself and prepare for the future.
And I didn't do that when I was younger.
Yeah.
I like, you know, my parents try to teach you to prepare for the future. But when you were younger, your long-term brain hasn't developed yet. And for men, it's even later than women. So like you physically
We're just now
can't,
developing.
you physically can't
Speak for
think
yourself.
like until you hit a certain age
Yeah.
for men and women, you can't think ahead of tomorrow or ahead of a couple of weeks from now. So like planning ahead is really difficult when you're a teenager, when you're in college, until you get older.
Yep.
Well, most people now don't even make change until they're faced with it. Instead of like
That's true.
planning or preparing
It's more
beforehand.
reactive.
Yeah.
It's more
anticipatory.
reactive. Yeah.
No.
For example, COVID. Like most people didn't plan or see that to happen, and then
they
had to react during that time.
Hmm.
Don't want to go into detail on that. just throwing that out there.
No, I mean, I think that's a good point. It's reaction versus anticipatory, and like the more you can be prepared, and how you get there is totally up to you. And you may have to go through more of a struggle, more of a process to realize, you know, this is what is important to me, and I don't want to be faced with that again. Or you just, maybe you're being led by example by a mentor, your parents, whoever it might be, and be like, oh, I want to be like them. This is the work and the effort I need to put in today to get to where I want to be tomorrow.
Yeah. And that's not to say like, you know, I went through my own struggles. Like I said, I didn't plan for what was going to come or my future at all. So when I got to LA, like I definitely struggled, but like you can come out the other side of that. When I was styling, I was making a couple $100s a week. Luckily I had Jill, my sister, who was willing to help support me, but we struggled every day because we could living on her salary alone was really difficult. So we got eviction notices every other week or every other month, I should say. My car got, I tell everyone that I just didn't want to drive anymore, but
You got
my car got
repoed?
repoed. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Back in the day when I was still in the fashion.
Was that like what? Early 20s? Mid 20s?
Well, no, I was here when I was like 25. So
Okay.
it was, so what happened, I was in Thailand and my car got towed while I was in Thailand.
Yeah.
And every day that it's in the pound, you incur like a huge fine.
Yeah.
Plus you have to pay to get it out. Plus you have all these other charges. When I got back, I had no money. I was a broke fashion person. So I couldn't afford
Couldn't
to
even
get
get
out.
your
So
car
it
out.
was just like,
You just
okay,
had to leave it there.
it's now yours. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I've been Ubering and lifting ever since. It's been years. I haven't driven a car in like
Do you
6
have
years.
any
Yeah.
like desire
I was
to?
gonna ask.
No, I don't. Honestly, driving, I grew up driving in North Dakota and I didn't drive in San Francisco, and I got a car in LA and drove here. But that stress and like the not having to stress about driving or parking
It
tickets,
is nice.
it's like such a load off my brain, and there's so much going on that sometimes you just have to like get rid of those stresses, and is now a stress that I just
Don't have to worry
Don't
about
need, yeah.
anymore. Do you think you save money at all?
No.
No.
Probably yeah.
no. I don't think I think it's about an even split on like a good month,
Yeah.
but eventually there will be a time where I will get a car, just because I used to like love road trips and things like that.
Yeah.
But
What do you do if you want to have a road trip?
I don't drive.
Oh, you don't road
That's
trip.
cute. See, I
don't.
hate
Don't
so
drive.
I get it.
I will find. I don't go on them unless
Someone else is going to be driving.
Yeah.
But like back to the struggle part of that, do you think the struggle that you faced in your early days of being a fashion stylist and not making very much money and, you know, living with your sister and all of that, has that taught you something?
Yeah, I was just talking about this with some of my coworkers the other day, and like fully believe in this, that like money ruins creativity. And if you have nothing, you will be as resourceful as you need to be. And once you start getting money and a lot of it, you can just pay to
coast.
Yeah.
You get comfortable. I 1000% agree with you.
So when I was younger, well, even now, I'm not wealthy by any means. I do well for myself now, but I still have to be creative and like use my resources to fund my life the way I want to.
Yep. It still kind of keeps you hungry in a sense, because I know I do the exact same thing, where when I'm faced with, like, if I don't have a job coming in or an opportunity or a gig coming up or something like that, I get a lot of anxiety. Yeah. And I'm just, and a lot of people are like, oh no, shouldn't you want to take that break? You should be able to relax a little bit because maybe you worked a lot. But for me, I'd rather be working, so I get extreme anxiety when I don't have something coming up. But I found that that's when my back is against the wall, where I want that opportunity, is I get the most creative going out trying to find that next job.
You were saying before too, right?
When you have nothing, you have to go figure it out.
Yeah. I am lucky I have a salary-based job, where you guys are like gig by gig kind of, right? I mean,
contract based.
Yeah. So
for the most part,
there is that stress of like, when's the next job coming in? And if I say no to this, is there going to be something else after that?
Yeah.
It's definitely a different mindset, because I started with the 9-to-5 salary based, and that was a really nice security, where it's like you get health insurance. I even had a 401k at one point at one of my jobs, and it was, everything was taken care of as long as I was doing the work, and I had a job every single day. And then once I switched over to having my own business, no one's going to do it for you, and you have to do it yourself. So every day is kind of like this constant struggle, in a sense of like, where is that next job coming from? And it's all about the network you're building, the work you're putting out, the people you're reaching out to, and the connections that you're making, because it's totally up to you to make it happen.
Chris, I feel like you've done like really smartly. You've invested.
But I didn't always do that way. I had to be able to go through a process of learning to get to that point. It comes back to sports, like in college and everything. Like, we had nothing in college, and I was like bouncing around from college to college and whatnot, playing different sports. And I was comfortable with nothing. Like, I got comfortable with nothing. It taught me to enjoy the process and the skill that I was learning within what I was passionate about, versus like worrying about the monetary value. And even when I came to LA, like, I was sleeping on couches and stuff and trying to figure out my way and whatnot. Even to get up here, I was like living in Orange County on a couch basically, and then coming up to LA on the couch. And so I'm very much comfortable in that process. And now even like where I'm at, I still want to get back to that, and which is why I like to go to other countries and whatnot and learn how they operate, because I feel like in those countries they have nothing and they have to figure it out on the day to day, and they're like some of the most happiest people. And I think we can take a lot of value away from that. Because it's like, no matter what happens, even when we have everything, like as humans, we're still going to want to strive for something. Like, you're not just going to be like, oh, I retired and like veg. I mean, some people do. Like, I could never do that.
Veg. Like, retired veg. I think that's the new Netflix.
It's going to be Evan sitting on a couch.
Maybe Evan might want to do that, but like,
that sounds great. No, I'd be so antsy.
No, you would. And that's the thing. Way. Like in like, reality, like, it sounds nice to be like, oh, I have everything I could ever want and need, and I have all the money that I need. But at the end of the day, like, you still have to strive after something. You still have to have attainable goals. Like, even when you are where you want to be, or you think that you are where you want to be, you're still going to have to create new goals. And that's the cyclical nature of life.
100%. Everyone needs to find like a purpose, no matter what stage you are.
I think your goals are going to develop and evolve every step of the way. It's just like, it's life. Your goals that you had when you were a teenager are very different than when you are your mid-20s, and they're going to be very different when you're in your mid-30s. They're going to be extremely different in your mid-40s. They're going to continue to evolve, and I think it's good to have those goals and aspirations to help drive somebody, you know, like mentally, creatively, like whatever.
I very much now think about, it's like, I'm not in anywhere near the position I want to be, but at the same time I'm like, okay, well, remove money from the like, put money aside. Like, what purpose are you trying to drive towards? You know, and that's where I try to feel I try to be the most rooted versus like, let me just do this for a monetary exchange, right? Mm-hmm. Like, because when you're working in purpose, that's when you're gonna find the most.
Do either of you know, like in the current moment, like what you feel like your purpose is right now? It's a tough question.
I don't really think it's like, oh, like you have to figure out your purpose. Mm-hmm. I think that you acquire skills and through your life's ups and downs,
you find it.
You find it,
just
but
live it.
At the same time, I think that there's information that you can give away that's extremely valuable that you've learned up to this point mm-hmm. that other people can learn from. Like I very much learn from other people who are in places that I want to be. And I think that regardless of where we feel right now we're at, there's still something that somebody can learn from your mm-hmm. situation or your situation. And I think that giving back in that way is a huge proponent mm-hmm. and purpose and happiness and whatnot.
Yeah. I think for me, it's not necessarily, I don't think I figured out my purpose. I don't know if I'll ever figure out my purpose, but it's more of like, I finally found something that I would do for no money. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I picked up the camera, like I talked about it in the past, I was like, this is for me. And whether it's my purpose or not, I don't know, but I know that this is what I want to involve my life around. Mm-hmm. And so whatever I'm going to be doing in the future is going to involve the camera, whether that's going to be photography, directing, moving into film, whatever it might be. I just know it has to do with that. And if it's going to be telling other people's stories or telling a narrative, whatever it is, I just know that is what I want to be doing.
Well, I think that, but what is the camera, right? What, like if we break it down even further, what is a camera? It's a tool, right? It's a tool for you to tell stories. Mm-hmm. So at the root of it all, I think that your storytelling.
Purpose is to tell stories.
Correct.
Is Evan gonna cry?
No, I think you nailed it, and it's.
He's still crying.
It's a beautiful thing. No, it is something that took me a long time to like get to that point. I mean, we talked about it, like especially when you and I first met. You were the one talking about like storytelling a lot more than I even talked about it. Mm-hmm. And you were saying like, you need to go off and do your own thing. Like, I think you could tell very early on, like storytelling was going to be a part of your life, but also part of my life. And then now as I'm moving into this world of, photography and directing, it's like, it's solidified 100%. So I agree with you. Thank you for finding my purpose.
This podcast was good for something.
Yeah. He found his purpose. Well, we're done. Episode 7, we're done.
Haven't found it. He's gone. I'm no longer on the podcast. Just like there's an empty mic here.
Chris and I are still searching.
Well, on that note, I want to flip that around back at you, Jenny, because you asked us, like, do we have a purpose, or have we found our purpose?
I've always kind of like every female in my mom's side of the family mostly are like nurses, and they've all known from like day one. And I've never really found like what that thing is that keeps me going, like that thing, like how you picked up the camera and whatever that is. But I think like that my goal, and that would make me die a happy person. I just want to be a part of something that's bigger than myself. Mm-hmm. I want to add to life in that way. Mm-hmm. And if I can drive change or make people happy in some way, like that would be enough. I don't know what that is, but
yeah. But maybe it's not, and I think that's important to know though. It's like you don't need to have like the exact answer. That answer is going to come to you.
I don't have like anxiety over like figuring it out. Yeah. I like take it day by day, and like my life changes day by day, and I just let it. So I think eventually, one day I'll wake up and it'll be there.
I think like what you just said reminded me of something I was talking with someone else about, and it was like the joke about like the 5-year plan question everybody gets in interviews and stuff like that, and it's. My answer now is actually very different than what it used to be when I would go on interviews. Whereas I'd go on an interview and someone would be like, what is your 5-year plan? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, right? It's a terrible question because you're just basically bullshitting them, saying, oh, I see myself moving from this position and going into a management and maybe having a team. And it's like, you don't know. Mm-hmm. Like that's a goal of yours. But so my 5-year plan or where I see myself in 5 years, I don't know. I don't know what 5 years is going to be, but if anything has taught me in the past is enjoying what you're doing and be prepared for whatever is about to come your way. Yeah. And in 5 years, your life could be very different from what it is now, and that's okay. And you're going to just make sure that you're ready to adapt
I'm just gonna say, if any employer listens to that and doesn't be like, yes, hired, like you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. You can't plan for it. That 5-year
Yeah.
question just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I really think that. And I mean, yeah, I've had interviews that even ask for your 10-year plan. It's like,
Fuck off.
Yeah,
it's like, no.
This is the wrong job for me.
Yeah.
If he's asking me that, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I would never go that way
Kind of
anyways,
like
but I'm just saying.
stealing.
I could see Chris just be like, nope. See you
Later.
I also could not see Chris walk into an interview room anymore.
I want to do it just for like a
Have you
blog
done
or
an
something.
interview?
I've
a
done
formal-
interviews,
yeah.
like no, not
Like a
like a
job
corporate
interview?
interview because I would never even step foot.
Yeah.
Like I got hired at Costco for like one little
Nice.
winter season when I was playing sports and whatnot in college. But
You
like,
hated
Box
everything
boy?
about it, didn't you?
no, just
Cashier?
everything.
Storage?
I just did everything.
Everything costs.
Everything. I had so many different jobs that were like so many different skill sets that I acquired.
Do you have a job from when you were starting out that you think you learned actually a lot more than what you anticipated for? Like just in the early days.
Well, I learned all the aspects of working in a restaurant. Like
I think that I was
Cooking,
gonna
yeah.
say,
waiting,
like everyone
bartending, like-
should learn. Everyone should work in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Because I think that the skills you learn serving people and like waiting on
Yeah.
Other people
is something invaluable.
that
And,
you're
like,
not the center of the universe in other people's worlds. Like you can like that. I think that teaches you everything because people are going to be like, I want my fucking ranch. And you're like, okay.
And also like patience and like
Yep, patience.
the restaurant, like the behind the scenes of a restaurant is insane. Like the craziness that happens back
What's
there.
going on during rush
Yeah.
hour or whatever.
That's true.
And having to be able to.
Multitasking. And
We were all
like,
waiters or worked in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I waited tables for 10 years and I bartended for 10 years.
Nice.
I really like it. I mean, I feel like it's like improv. Like you just get to like bullshit with new people and
Yeah.
like, hey, what's up? How's it going?
Did you
or
guys
not.
ever have those dreams while you were waiting tables or whatever, where you can't keep up, where you would be like in the restaurant and you can't like keep up with your tables and it's just like building and building and building? Oh, it's just me and my anxiety.
Sounds like a,
Sorry, Jenny. Usually I'm
it's a
like,
Jenny problem. No,
Yeah.
I would just like
Very
figure my
calm.
way through it.
So I would have those, and it's all anxiety, I think, because
Yeah.
my sister has them too all the time. Even she will still have them
Yeah.
when she's really stressed about like
oh,
not being
well,
able to keep up.
she's a nurse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that'd be scary as hell. Like people's lives are literally
Mm-hmm.
depending on you.
It's a little different when like people's food is depending
Yeah.
on you versus people's
That
But
is
lives.
some-
important.
Like,
That,
But
that could be just
sometimes
as important.
people act like
angry.
their
Yeah,
food
it's
is
true.
like
Life or death.
yeah.
Yep. No, I agree. Yeah, I've had plenty of waiter experiences that have taught me lessons, but I've never had the dreams about them
I worked at like in college. I had 3 bartending serving jobs at one
at the
time.
same time.
I had 2, 3. That's cool.
I worked at
What'd you
2
have?
bars and a restaurant.
I'm just kidding.
I worked at CPK, California Pizza Kitchen.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
You had what? You
I
had,
had 2 bartending jobs and a serving job at one
Oh.
time through college.
I worked at a sushi restaurant, Robatas in Carmel.
yeah.
It's a great restaurant. But
Was it?
yeah, I spilled champagne over a guest once, and it was like, it still mortifies me to this day. This was like 12, 13 years ago, and I
Really?
still remember it vividly.
What'd they do?
They were the nicest people about it. It was me that was mortified because I popped open a bottle of champagne at their table and it shot out. And as a rookie champagne opener person, I got super scared and I went like this over the top of it at their table.
And it just sprayed.
And it sprayed all to the sides and it went all over them as they were like celebrating an anniversary or something. And I just showered them with champagne and I was a mortified 17-year-old. Kind of going back to the struggle aspect of it, I think, how old were you?
18.
You were 18, and what was the reasoning behind getting your first job?
I was in college and Hollister, my parents just probably, I don't know. I just want some money.
You just
I
want
guess,
to, yeah. So you want to be able to provide for yourself because,
Yeah.
like, I know, like, that was one of the big learning lessons for me was providing for myself and not relying on somebody else. And I don't think, obviously, I didn't think about it then, like when I was waiting tables or when I was cleaning golf clubs and that kind of stuff. It was just more of like I want to be able to do this myself. And like I remember even in college when I had a full schedule and it was really hard for me to work full time. I was you and I were talking about this. I was selling plasma to be
I
able
used to do that in college.
yeah,
Yeah.
to be able to buy groceries. And it wasn't because my parents weren't supportive or anything. It was just like I wanted to be able to do that for myself.
My parents really instilled like being independent when I had since elementary school on, I have never not had a job. I had one all through elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and usually multiple jobs. And like they've always been there to help me if I needed help, but usually I would try to like have as many jobs as possible. I also like to, you know, spend my money in ridiculous ways. So I've always been financially responsible.
What's the most ridiculous way? Like
just
travel?
Yeah, I mean, I would travel when I had no money. I'd shop when I have no money. You know, I don't like to save.
Don't need to save. Talk about that planning for the future.
To go back to, I always had a job, and I've had that like support yourself mindset, or like hustle and work hard. I may not be the smartest person in the room but I can almost always say I'm like one of the hardest working people in the room.
I
and
think
that is something
that
for
sure.
I've always been able to be proud of.
Yep.
I don't necessarily always want to be the smartest person in the room. Have you ever heard that saying? Like
don't be.
You surround yourself with the people that you want to be like. So if I'm the smartest person in the room, I would be really worried. You know?
Just kidding.
I don't have anything.
Just kidding. No, I truly agree with that. Surrounding yourself with people that you want to aspire to. Yeah. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room. And I think that's such a humbling practice for yourself to do and say, it's okay that I'm not the smartest person. I don't need to have all the answers. But what makes a leader and makes somebody that's going to excel in life is being able to surround yourself and you're okay taking that advice from other people, and then you can build together.
Or surround yourself with your weaknesses. Surround yourself with people that
make up for your
weaknesses.
100%.
Yeah,
exactly. See, like I said,
that's why I'm here, man. I'm still trying to figure out what. I can't surf. I can't swim. You're probably.
I just push. I just like to push people to their limit.
Chris,
that's
you gotta teach Evan to swim.
To swim. Just throw him in the water. That's it.
Swimming in the ocean is a different beast, honestly.
It really is.
I think the only time I ever had like a major panic attack was like getting thrown. I was in 8th grade. PTSD. Like it was a swim test, and I got thrown in the middle of the ocean. And I can swim. All right, let's back up. I can swim. All right, guys, I can swim. It's just not fantastic. But we had to do a swim test, and it's 8th grade, and you get thrown into the ocean, and you have to swim around a buoy, and you have to swim like, I don't know, 50 yards or like 25 yards or something. Go to a buoy, come back, and that was your swim test. And for whatever reason, and also you're 8th grade, you got the girls there, you like the girls, and like they're like judging. Yeah, the crush is there, and like the pressure's on. And
Did
then
you choke?
I choked so bad, and like I remember like sinking, and I was like, and I was also fat too, so I was like, I should have been
until senior year.
I should have been like floating easily. I wasn't. Somehow I just like gained a lot of mass, and I just started sinking immediately. The guy had to jump in. He had to save me and like make me hold on the lifesaver, and I was just like, I had to get pulled in.
The whole class is watching.
The whole class. It was 8th grade, and I think the 7th graders were there too. So I had made fun of my 7th graders.
Yeah, that's a little devastating.
Well, what I will say is that you always complain about your bad back, and swimming is non-weight bearing, so it actually takes pressure and relieves pressure off of your back.
So that's a really good
workout.
workout.
You should start swimming.
You know, there's
often.
public pools or like pools you can go swim at. There's like some really nice pools in LA.
Guys,
that you could
this is not a self-help about me swimming podcast. I just want to share a story about a struggle I went through, and it was a little bit of a scar in my life, but I've moved past it since. I'm okay, kinda. And it's gonna be all right. We don't need to address it anymore. Let's move on.
I'm talking about your back now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that.
Wait, I want to talk about when you tore your
ACL.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that changed the course of, you know, what you did next.
That changed a lot of things. That was like my junior year of college. I was already older in college, so because I'd already played football and then baseball, and kind of changed the trajectory of where I was going to go after college. And so that was like a year-long process. Like I said this before, I'm the type of person, if I'm faced with something, I'll go down that rabbit hole of figuring out how to get the most out of it and maximize my time. So it was like a mentally grueling time where I had to figure out different outlets. Like I was looking into starting a clothing line and like doing other things, and like visually and mentally, I had to put myself in a different place because I wasn't able to walk. Right. Like, so let's just take this, for example, like I wasn't able to walk for like 6 to 8 weeks or so. Jesus. So, but I would visually see myself walking. I would have to like mentally see myself running again. I think that the leeway to get from the surgery to being released to run again was like, I don't know, 7-8 months. I got released at like 5 because I was able to like take what I had at the time and actually swim a lot. I because it's non-weight bearing. So that's why I like, joking aside, like that's why I say that, because
you know, I was going to be an athletic trainer, right? So
yeah, no, I know.
I know this, but I just
but yeah, I would the way that I approached it, I was like, okay, how do I maximize this time and this downtime to be able to come out on another side and I got hurt and I was injured. In 6 months, I was faster than I was prior to getting injured.
Yeah. But I think that's a really good example of like you were faced with an issue, but you made the most of it, of what you could at that moment. Would you have wished you could have been doing something else? Of course. But sure. You were given a certain deck of cards and you played the hand that you were dealt.
For sure. So. And it's like and you maximize with it what you have.
Exactly. I think that's a really important lesson for everybody to take with them, is that you're going to be dealt some cards, play the hand you have, and that's okay. Move forward.
Maximize your opportunity.
Just keep swimming, like Dory says in Finding Nemo.
Boom.
And there it is. And that is a Decent Human Podcast. Thanks for jumping in. Subscribe, like it, share it, love it. We'll see you next time. Bye.